By default, SolidWorks has an extremely user-friendly interface. However, you can customize it to make your work more streamlined. SolidWorks comes with some default tabs already set up on the command manager which hold a lot of the useful functionality. You can, however, add additional tabs. Simply right-click on an existing tab and you'll see a list of predefined tabs that you can add. I make use of surfacing, sheet metal, weldments and mould tools, so I like to have all these tabs on so I can very quickly get to those tools. This saves me using the drop-down menus and navigating through them that way. You can also make your own custom tab up, simply by right-clicking on an existing tab and saying Customise Command Manager. When you do this, you should see an additional tab appear just here. If I click on this, it will create a new tab which I can either populate with a predefined set of tools, or I can actually create empty. If I create it empty, I can give it my own name, and now I can drag my own commands on that I want. You should see the Customise dialog box still in the main graphical area. If I click on commands, I have a list of every single command in SolidWorks. They're put into categories so that I can easily find things. So for example, I might like to use delete solid or surface a lot. So I can simply drag and drop it on to my new toolbar. I can do this with any number of tools and they can be from different categories. If I add one on by mistake or decide I'm not using it, I can simply drag and drop it back and it will disappear. Another useful way you can improve your SolidWorks experience is using the shortcut key. By default, that is set up as your S key. This is a context sensitive little shortcut bar, and depending on where you are, depends on what options display next to your cursor. Because it appears next to your cursor, it reduces mouse travel, which means that when I'm doing a sketch, I can simply press my S key and I've got all my sketch tools available to me. You can customize this as well by bringing it up, right-clicking, Customize. And again, I can drag my own commands on, just like we did for my custom tab. Mouse gestures were new a few releases ago within SolidWorks. These are obtained by right-clicking and holding your mouse button, and you get this wheel appear. The default behaviour with the mouse gestures is to have the default views on, so left, right, front and so on. I, however, have customised mine to how I like to work. To customise mouse gestures, you can go to your Tools and Customise, and you'll see there's a mouse gestures option available here. All the commands in SolidWorks are listed in this big list, and because mouse gestures are context sensitive, you decide which direction you want to drag your mouse in the part, assembly, drawing and sketch environment. You can actually switch mouse gestures off if you don't like them using this option here, and rather than having 4 gestures, if you want to get a bit more complex, you can have up to 8 gestures. If I show you the commands that I've got set up by choosing this filter, you should be able to see and get a good idea of how you go about arranging your mouse gestures. So when I'm in my part environment, if I drag my right mouse button to the right, I'll get the orientation dialog pop up. When I'm in my sketch environment, if I drag it to the right, I get the smart dimension. I can change these by simply clicking on them and choosing the direction that I want. If you combine this with the shortcut key, it means that I can get the shortcut bar on my mouse gestures, so I don't even need to press my S key. This means that when I'm doing my sketching, I become very quick and fluid, because I can simply go off, start to draw my shape. If I want a dimension, I hold my right mouse button and drag to the right, I then get my dimensions up. If I want another line, I can go off very quickly. You might get so quick with the mouse gestures, and if you remember where everything is, that you don't even see it appear. So I can go off and draw my shape, and you've probably noticed that you don't see the mouse gestures wheel appearing at all. If I come out of the sketch, because I've got my shortcut bar, I can very quickly get to an extrude and get the size that I want. Another useful little tip for you is when you are using certain commands, you may have noticed that your cursor changes to a little mouse. This indicates that if I right click at this moment in time now, then it will accept what I've done. If I move my mouse too much, then that option disappears. This is extremely useful for doing certain operations like fillets, where I can just go off and choose the edges, and then if I'm happy, I right click and it puts them on. Now you may spend a bit of time setting all this up and getting the interface customized exactly how you like. You can share your options with your colleagues using the Copy Settings wizard. This is found on your Start menu, Programs, SolidWorks, SolidWorks Tools, and in there you've got Copy Settings wizard. If I open this up, you'll notice it brings up a nice little dialog box where we can either save settings or restore settings. If I choose save, I can click next, and it will give me the options of what I want to save. So I might want to save all my keyboard shortcuts, what I've done with my menus, and also my toolbar layout. Systems options are useful to save things like file locations. I choose where I want to save this settings file. It saves it as an SLD REG. I can then share that with my colleagues and they can open it up by just loading the Copy Settings wizard and saying restore.